Allison! I shouted as I entered the house. Allison came out of her room, all dressed up. Oh, Pete, I was waiting for you. Ben is asleep in his room, and I have to go to Mom's house right now. Right now? Is everything all right? It's 9 p.m. Oh, honey, look, Mom is calling. I'll explain when I'm home. You'll be fine. She gave me a peck on my cheek and left, talking to her mom on the phone while walking out of the house. I walked into her living room. Alone as usual, I thought to myself. I went into our 8-month-old son, Ben's room, to check if he's still asleep and picked up the baby monitor to keep a check on him. I went to the kitchen and made myself some instant noodles. This will all be fixed soon. I try to coax myself as I remind myself of my plans. My wife Allison and her mother Ronnie shared a very close-knit relationship. I tried to understand it at first, thinking that it's because Ronnie is a single mother and brought up Allison all on her own, but as time progressed, it started to bother me. My wife not only ignored me, but also our son, in order to spend time with her mother and be present for her at all times. Allison and I married a year ago. She met me at a grocery store, and it was just love at first sight for me. We moved in together. She got pregnant and expressed the wish to be married, and I instantly agreed. We had a son. We were already a family. It made sense. Lately, I've noticed that we all basically live like roommates and not as a couple, and it saddens me. I'm not a man who lets go of his responsibilities easily, and thus I want to make it work. I text Allison and ask her to be back soon. She replies saying that she is going to take a while and I should sleep. It frustrates me a little, but I simply retort to bed in defeat. It's Allison's birthday in 2 days, and I plan to give her a surprise. The next morning, I wake up and I am pleased when I see Allison asleep beside me. I get ready for work and leave. Before work, I got to the bank and withdraw a large sum of money. It seems surreal to me to see all my hard work right in front of me. Tonight I will tell her about it. I think to myself as I'm driving to work. When I get home, I see my wife's mom already seated on her dining table. They're both having dinner together. Ronnie looks up at me and gives me a wide smile. We were just waiting for you. I look at the leftovers on the table. Clearly. Oh, Pete, don't be upset now. I'm an old woman. I need my dinner early. But Allison really wanted to wait for you. I look at Allison as she just nods her head with her mouth full. I go to Ben's room exasperated by the duo. I sit there in darkness, watching my son sleep until Allison comes in. It's my birthday and you're sitting over here instead of sitting with me? I like to be where I feel wanted. He's asleep, still better than you and your mother. She bends down and holds my hand. Come on, Pete. You know how it is. I just don't want her to be lonely. Fine. I followed her back to the living room. I am pleased when I see that we are alone and Ronnie has left. I take out the small birthday cake I bought for her. We have a quiet celebration as Ben is asleep, after which I tell her that I have a surprise. I lead her to the locker in her room and open it to show her my savings. Her eyes widen as she looks between me and the locker. We are buying a house. What? We are buying a house? I've been saving up for so long. It's going to be your dream house. She smiles at me. It's amazing. It's going to be a great house. Aren't you happy? Of course, this is amazing. I'm just so surprised, you know. She starts backing off. I can hear Ben crying. How about you go to bed and I tend to him? You want to tend to him? Let me do it. It's your birthday. No, you've done too much. The house, I'll do it. Besides, I should spend some of my birthday with my son. You should go to bed anyway. You have work tomorrow. She walks away, closing the door behind her. I go to bed a little confused. Allison didn't seem as happy as I had imagined. Perhaps it's just shocking. I think to myself before drifting off to sleep. I wake up the next morning and call a broker I know and ask if we can look at some houses. Allison just watches me quietly with her eyebrows raised. For the whole week, we go around town looking at houses. I like two of them a lot, but Allison doesn't seem too impressed, so we're planning to keep looking. As I'm at the office, the broker calls me and tells me that a house I looked at 2 years ago is open to be sold now, and it fits my current budget. It was a little over budget for me back then, but I've saved up so much more now. I go home excitedly, but Allison isn't home. I text her and she tells me that Ben is at a babysitter's house and she's at her mom's place. I'm so happy that even being alone at home seems blissful. I go to the locker to count out the deposit for my dream house. When I open it, I'm stunned. It's empty. We have had a robbery, I think to myself. I call up my wife immediately. What? Robbery? Where? The money for our house. It's all gone, Allison. Oh, that. There's no robbery, honey. Look at you being all dramatic. I just took the money for something more important. More important? What do you need so much money for? I ask her. I'll tell you when I'm home. She hangs up instantly. I call her many times, but she doesn't pick up. I give up eventually and sit on the floor staring at the empty locker until I hear the front door unlock. I get up quickly and rush out to the living room. I see Allison entering the house with Ben in her arms. Allison, why haven't you been picking up? I was so busy, and then I picked up Ben. I told you I'd talk at home. She handed Ben to me and walked to the bedroom. I followed her inside and put Ben down on her bed. Well, the money, Allison, where is it? You need to sit down and calm down. She casually begins to take off her jewelry. What? I gave the money away. Gave it away? To whom? I asked her in anger. To my mother, of course. She wanted to buy a house too, and I thought she can just buy one some other time. She puts her jewelry on the dressing table and walks out to the living room, attempting to ignore me. I follow her to the living room. Allison, are you joking? I ask her. No, look, I knew you would be angry, but listen to me. She's old and we still have time, you know. We are so young. We can still wait a few years before having our house, she says nonchalantly. You gave my money to your mother so she can buy a house? How do you even imagine that all these things are normal? Pete, your money is our money. She's my mother. She's family. It wasn't that much anyway. We need a bigger house. She went back to her room and picked up Ben from our bed and went to his nursery, avoiding me completely. I sat outside in the living room for a long time. I couldn't fathom that my wife had done this and wasn't even guilty. She has pushed the line too far. When I finally decided to go to bed, Allison was still not there. I walked to Ben's room to check and she is speaking to her mom. So, when should I leave him now? Don't we have enough? Mom, he's starting to get angry. I can't keep up with this drama anymore. We need to leave fast, Allison says on the phone. I am in shock as I overhear their conversation. Allison has been planning on leaving me. My eyes sting and my ears feel like they are on fire. I open the door slightly, and Allison stares at me, shocked. She knows I heard her. Her phone falls into her lap. She looks at Ben and whispers, "Let's go outside." As we come into the living room, she's breathing heavily. So you're planning on leaving? This is all drama? It's just, you're so dependent on me, Pete. I can't do it anymore. I have to do everything in the house. Allison, I want to know the truth. You and I both know that you do nothing in this house. Can we please just be honest for once? Tears begin to well up in her eyes. We were so poor. We needed help or we would be on the streets. You bought the stuff at the grocery for us that day when I said I'd forgotten my wallet. You didn't ask me for money afterwards and we thought that you were rich. Oh God, what? You were mooching off me from the beginning? I married you. You married me? Are you out of your mind? Do you know what you're talking about? I completely lose my cool, and for the first time ever, Ben's crying from the nursery doesn't make me want to be calmer. Look, Pete, you don't know what it's like to be poor. We didn't plan on making it so far. I accidentally got pregnant and we thought that it would just work for a longer period. Please, I do love you. I care, I promise. We can start again. Start again? You had a baby just to rip me off. What makes you think I want to waste a second with you? Where is my money? I ask her in anger. Sweat beads form on my forehead. I've never felt like this in my life. I let myself be fooled by a scammer for so long. No wonder she wanted to marry so soon, and I was the dumb idiot who thought it was just love. The money, my mom, she started gambling again when we got married, and she just lost so much. I saw the money that day, and I just wanted to help her. Oh, your mother is a freak, and so are you. You both can rot in jail. Suddenly, her entire demeanor changes. Oh, come on, Pete. How are you going to prove all this to anyone, huh? I didn't reply to her at the time because I didn't know as well. However, I kicked her out of my house and filed for a divorce against her. I also filed a case against her for scamming me. I knew it would be impossible to prove it, but I wanted to take the chance. To my surprise, Ben's baby monitor had recorded our entire conversation. I won the case and also won Ben's full custody. He was a child, and he shouldn't have to suffer in all of this. Allison and her mother were charged with a huge fine, and they had to pay me a lot of money, perhaps more than they could ever earn. I was content knowing they would always be in debt. Ben and I now live happily. He was independent of his mother anyway, as she never paid attention to him. In fact, after the divorce, she never even tried to see him. I guess that's good for both of us.